Okay, so we'll start up with our lesson today, which is evidence of changing over time. Uh, as you know, we were talking about succession, that there are different kind of successions. Some of the successions are there when we have nothing. I mean, maybe there's a volcanic eruption which just destroyed everything, and there was no life in that community. It was a barren rock. Slowly, life starts to begin there, and starts with the pioneer community. Remember pioneer community?
Yes. Yes.
The pioneer community is the community that first starts to grow over there, and that community actually is uh, consists of the non-vascular plants, which such as moss or lichens. And as they start to grow up, they have a life cycle. They reproduce, then they die out. So as they decompose, there's a layer of soil created on that barren rock, and this does not happen very quickly. It takes time, and this is how then slowly life starts to begin there, and then it reaches the climax community, which is actually, you could say, like we are talking about mature plant. A mature plant is the one which is completely grown. So here, climax community is the one which is completely grown now. It's full of plant life. It's full of animal life, and it's full of it's a complete community. Then now the evidences. How do we know that change has happened in a place? You know that there were continental drifts. Remember continental drifts? Uh, everybody's listening me, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Mr.
Yes. Yes.
So who remembers the continental drift theory? What does it say? Remember about the continents that they were moving, and then there was one continent.
Yeah.
Yes, Muhammad Ridwan.
It was suggested that um, all was all the countries and Africa, America, North America, South America uh, was one continent called Pangaea.
Pangea, good. And then this theory, this is known as the continental drift theory. It states that the continents are there's a plate which is always on the move. So continents have drifted. There's a climate change sometime, and sometimes you know that continental drift does not affects the land, but it also affects the sea. So history of these old things actually has found that millions of fossils are found in different parts of the earth, from land to the sea. So using these fossil fuels, using fossil fuels on the land, using fossil fuels on the in the sea. Okay, the one that is given in your book, for example, some of the naturaloid fossil in North America. So all of these actually helped in finding about the ecosystem, about the community that was living there. And the era of Earth history actually is marked by significant changes. It, geographically and climate-wise, the Earth has changed over time, which brought different kind of organisms from one place to another place. And when environments change, animals try to adapt themselves. Some might die. Um, that's why fossil evidence, they are so important, because they tell how species have changed over time or no. They couldn't survive the changes. They couldn't. It was not up to them, and they just become or did, or even some of them they migrated to other places. So all of these examples, they all of these fossils gave scientists a clear idea that how things have changed over history. Um, for example, let us talk about horses. That example that is given in your book, that the history of the horse, the ancestors of modern horses, they say they walked on several spread out uh, on toes, which probably helped the animal move through swamps and mud. You know that now it cannot move, but the ancestors, the one that the one that lived long ago, the ancestors of the horses. You know what ancestor means?
Yes, it means the great.
Yes. Nobody knows what ancestor means.
I know.
What does it mean?
Means the great grandfather that are from.
Hmm. Okay. So the ancestors of these animals, such as horse, they walked on several spread out toes, which probably helped these animals to live in different places which cannot live now. So as the land dried, horses changed as well. It was muddy and swampy water, but now it's different. So they adapted to that change. They adapted a flat hoof on each of their feet, which allowed them to run faster. Plus, uh, this does not help them to run faster, but also to, for example, if they have predators, they uh, were moving or they moved faster to escape from them. Today, the horses are large, they're single-toed, hoofed animals, and they're modern as a result of many physical changes that occurred over time. There are different kind of changes when we talk about changes. For example, we have the uh, homologous changes. Scientists can compare features differently to look what similarity they have. Here, if you see this diagram, this is the homologous structure diagram. It shows how the limbs of several animals have similar in shape and arrangement. It's given in your book also. You see that the limbs of several animals, they are similar in shape, but the structure is adapted. They have changed over time, right? Now, similar features in different organisms are known as comparative structures, but when bodies uh, parts are different but meet different needs, they are called homologous structures. So the similar features in different organisms, again, remember, are known as comparative structures. But if they have but they are different. If they are different, they are same but with different needs, then it's called a homologous structure. Everybody's there?
Yes, Mr.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Just 1 minute.
Yes. Structure is like they have the same needs, same, but the structure is different. Homologous is the opposite.
The voice is so slow. What we can't.
What?
And low, Mr.
Yes.
Low and low. Sir, why don't you use Zoom? My sound is low.
لأنه هذا أحسن.
والله sound is low. صوت جواد واطي.
شو بدك بصوته؟ واو.
Okay.
هذا بيوضح أكتر وين هذاك أحسن.
هذا فيه برايفسي أكتر يا زكي. أما
خلاص
شوفوا
فهمنا
Okay.
شوفوا
Right, we come back
كويس
now. I was giving
بعدين.
student meeting number, although it's given in the group, but still some are not here yet. Okay, so comparative structures and homologous structures. As we said that some of the features in different organisms, the similar features, they are known as comparative. But if they are same but with different functions, different needs, they are called homologous. Now, the embryos, you know, embryo is the first cell when fertilization happens, and the male cell and the female cells join together, embryo is formed. So embryo is an unattached developing organism, which is different species can be they change over time. For example, the vertebrate embryos, they are similar during their early stages of development. Okay, so embryo develops similarities and decreases the structure, grow into arms, wings. So every animal in the first stage of the embryo is almost same in the all vertebrates, but later on, as they start to develop their bodies from their feet to their arms to the head, it then changes. The first stage is same for most of the animals, and then slowly it
check your
changes.
Sound is coming and going.
connection.
It's okay now? Is it okay now? Can you hear me now?
Your voice is lifted.
No.
It's okay?
Yes.
Okay. So,
But your voice is coming and going.
yeah, maybe because of the internet.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Mr. But can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Thanks for telling me.
Some voice didn't.
Some points.
Yes, mister.
Just 1 minute, I'm giving.
Hello, mister. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Mister, we will solve the workbook after we finish this lesson.
Yes.
If we have time.
Solve it, you can send it on. We will send it to you.
Mister, they put me a rectangle, join a meeting.
Okay. So then we come to the last part, how environments change over time. Okay. Um, as you can see here in this map, there's a map of Niger, which is a country in Africa. You see that how it has changed over time. It was
Yes.
more green parts. You could say more plant life was there, but now it's due to, you could say, changes made by people, cutting out trees and destroying plant life, affected the country. It's now, say, most of it looking like desert, right? And this does not affect only the plant life, but also the animal life, because there are no plants by, there's no uh, water nearby, animals are going to move from there. So it also affects the soil. If there are plants, well, there will be more. The plants are going to decompose. They are going to create a layer of fertile soil. But if there are no plants, you see that um, there are no animals, no
Mhm.
plants, no decomposers are going to work on them. The soil will become much
Mister,
fertile.
you,
Yes.
Mister, you know why I'm not confident with the idea of that the continent was one continent?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was one named Dulqarnain, and in his story, there was an Atlantic Ocean, not Atlantic, يعني there was ocean. He traveled in it, ocean.
Yes.
And he is before the scientists that he made a theory that the continent was one and like that. How?
No, it's longer ago. It's more than that.
Ah,
Yeah, it's more earlier than that. Probably that happens later. What science talks about is something that is quite long ago. Yeah, you might have seen the films like, for example, the Ice Age and all of that. You see how changes happen, how continental drifts happen when
okay.
there are earthquakes. There are kind of earthquakes, and the land separates, right? So
Yes.
it's quite longer than that. So here
Ah,
again we come 1976, and then in 2007 you see the country has changed a lot. You have very less plant life left over there in the 2007. Most of it
changed a lot.
it's changing into desert. So these changes can happen differently. It can be naturally. It can be made by people destroying the plant life, making cities, and in this way, the animal habitat is also disturbed. So there are different reasons for environmental changes over time. It's not just one change, different kind of changes. In some places, there are wetlands which have a lot of water, uh, and if there are no enough plants, the land is going to just absorb that water, and even that wetlands are changed then. So different environments, they change over time. Uh, Now, for example, the transformation of land into desert. Now, here, this example, this map,
Yeah.
this is changing from land into desert. This is known as desertification, desertification, because it's changing from a land into a desert. Okay, this transformation can be, it can, as I said, be made by human activities, by cutting trees, or maybe having a lot of livestock, maybe having a lot of animals, domestic animals such as goats and sheep and cows, which graze over plant life, which eat plant life. This can also be a reason. Or sometimes even natural things like drought. There can't be rain for a long time, which can also change the land. Maybe there is no rain for a long time. All the plants, they are actually, there's if there is no water for a long time, the plants are going to die out.
Mister,
It may,
can
it may have.
this can this city be again ecosystem with the grasses and trees?
Yes, why not? It can, but it will need a time. You need to prepare that soil. That soil is not, for example, here now, the soil is not that fertile. So you can't expect that many plants will grow over here directly
Yeah.
or naturally because the soil is not fertile. The soil is less with nutrients. So it takes time. If you take, I mean, for example, we talked about the Go Green. Remember, we said that yeah, they are making a project
Yes.
with the city. They are trying to make it green by growing as much plant life as possible, which will, who knows, in the future, maybe this changes back to a Greenland, right? So
Right.
that's
Yes.
all for the lesson. We actually finished the lesson now, life science, and you're supposed to do your uh, workbook related
Homework.
pages.
Send it on by me.
Only
And
25. We finished.
yes, and then send me it on Pioneer. And as I
Yeah.
said, from next week, we finished our physical and life science both. So from next
Yes.
week, we are going to,
Revise.
yes, real review using the
How
same,
would you?
we'll review using the same method. We use this Cisco WebEx for
So
meeting.
you
Sir, the same meeting,
Sorry?
the same meeting number.
Yeah, the same.
Mr. I now join.
Mister,
Mm-hmm.
can I ask a question? Now we'll revise all the lessons that we take it on online teaching.
Yes, like this, from next week, inshallah.
Okay, so I'll prepare for answer.
Yes, everybody can. If you have any
Mister.
question, you can just ask. And
Sir,
I've recorded this, so I will upload it on YouTube. So those boys who missed out, who came late, they can just go
Yes, it's better.
over it again on the YouTube.
The same password?
Yeah, the same password.
ID, not password.
No,
Yes, okay.
the same number.
The same.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So what I'm going to do is
Mister, we can leave